Welcome to the latest episode of Construction Week's expert interview series, which brings to you some of the most well known names from the region's built environment who talk to us about everything from technologies to challenges, as well as what does the future behold for the construction industry in the region. With us today is Cris Dedigama, CEO, Middle East and Africa at Atkins, a member of the SNC-Lavalin Group. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, Cris.
Thanks a lot, Ranju. Good to be here.
So, without further ado, let's get started with. Earlier this year, a new business strategy was announced for Atkins along with other SNC-Lavalin companies. How has the new structure changed the way Atkins has been delivering its project, and what does it mean for the company's presence in the Middle East and Africa?
Good question, Ranju. So basically, we only have one purpose in life, right? Is to serve our customers with achieving their targets, right? Very simple. So we've got to harness, if you like, the technical skills, the know-how that our people have, the ability to collaborate, work together, and work together with multiple stakeholders to deliver projects for the betterment of our communities that we work in, right? So looking at that, we were basically having a traditional model which is service-based across the region, right?
Yeah.
Now, the Middle Eastern economies are at different stages in their development and their different needs across the region, whether it be in Oman, in the UAE, or in KSA. The needs are quite different, right? Okay.
Yeah.
In Dubai, for example, we've got some assets that have been built up over a long period of time that are getting into more particularly asset maintenance based, and optimization type work. In Abu Dhabi, there's a lot of need for local housing and development of that local housing. In KSA, you've got the mega projects. And in Oman, you've got a number of projects that are Oman-centric, right? So we looked at whether we were efficient in the way we were operating. Because at the end of the day, efficiency means something to our clients. It means that we can deliver faster, much more pointed, and much more cleanly what they need, right?
Yeah.
So we built a structure around, we flipped the structure completely on its head. And rather being a service-oriented structure across the region, we actually made a country-centric structure, right?
Okay.
What does that do? That means we have in country all the decision makers with regards to that country's business, right? Which meant engagement with our clients was first class and was immediate, right? And was pointed, really pointed, right? Okay. Delivery was with people in country, harnessing the knowledge that we have as a group, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were able to pull in what was needed with regards to what a particular client or a particular project needed, right? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the challenge really was, how do we make sure that our service levels remained high,
Yeah.
right? And that we could harness the people in our group, because we've got people with large amounts of skills right across the globe, right? And whilst that was a fear that we had to really address, the results over this, the end of 6 months of the structure being in place is
Yeah.
really, really encouraging, because we're seeing much better delivery, much better client engagement, much more repeat work, and much more desire by our clients to use us on a more consistent basis.
How much does this affect the capital cost and the operational cost that you've had over the years? And how do you foresee this, in terms of tightening up these costs maybe in the next year or probably, in the next couple of years or so?
Well, to be honest with you, it's been a cost efficiency, because we have a lot less people flying around the region. Example, let's say we have a site supervision director with a
Yeah.
regional remit.
Yeah.
That site supervision director will be flying from one job to another, whether it's in KSA, it's in Oman, in UAE, etc. Right?
Yeah.
Currently, we have our site operations directors in country, looking after all our jobs in that country. Similar with design, and then we reach out from that country-centric focus to the people in the region, in the GDC, and in the wider Atkins and SNC group to actually bring in the expertise required with regards to specific needs of that project.
Okay.
And that's a much better way of operating. So it's much more efficient, much more cost effective.
That's really interesting to know. And moving ahead, we all know that COVID-19 has obviously had a major impact on the construction and infrastructure sector. Just wanted to understand, how did Atkins react to the situation, and what changes are you carrying forward in 2021?
So COVID-19 obviously has had an impact right across all our communities, and staying safe is fundamental, right?
Right,
And I think safety is at the core of everything we do, and one of our real important values, right? And that's keeping everybody safe. Our clients, our other stakeholders with whom we interact with, and of course our staff, right?
Yeah.
So safety was paramount. What COVID did, I think, has on the positive side, has really helped us and our clients understand that we can work remotely and still be quite efficient. Even if you'd asked me that question a year ago, I would have said, you've got to be in a client's office, you've got to be around a table, you've got to be in a meeting room. And clearly, there are instances when that is needed.
Mhm.
But I'm amazed at how resilient our people have been and how resilient our organization has been in flipping in a very agile way, very quickly to address the needs of our clients, right? Okay. So we've been able to really, I would say within about a week or two maximum, and I'm probably exaggerating that time frame, react and address the needs of our client. Yes, we've had issues like people couldn't travel sometimes and they were needed on the ground and they really could not because there was no way they could, so we've had to address some issues like that. But again, this is where, the resilience of an organization and the ability to harness the skills in the organization comes into play. And luckily, we've got quite a robust organization in the Middle East and a huge organization worldwide. So we can tap into people's expertise and then transfer that both digitally and electronically, right? So it's been quite good, actually. So I think COVID-19, if I really take a snapshot, it's been perhaps more positive than negative for us.
Interestingly, Atkins recently won the lead design consultant services contract for Six Flags Qiddiya theme park project, which is located within Saudi Arabia's Qiddiya Giga project. We understand that the scope of work is quite interesting, but I wanted to understand again, how will Atkins be delivering this project, and what are some of the challenges that you foresee in this kind of projects?
It's
Yeah.
a very, very exciting time. I mean, we're seeing the transformation of a nation, right? And the program there, the 2030 vision, is just incredibly empowering, right? So for us, the challenge is, how do we make sure we've got the right people, the right levels of skill, right, and the right engagement with the indigenous people to be able to deliver that, right? So the Kidia project, I mean, we're very, very honored and privileged to be awarded that. And we really are very excited by it, right? Because it's a unique project. Now, to deliver that, we are very cognizant that we've got to use existing sort of know-how that we have, because we've delivered, if you like, lots of theme parks all over the world, right? Okay, so we've got to bring that expertise together.
Yeah.
We've been over 50 years in the region and in KSA. So we've got to harness the knowledge and the know-how we have of working in KSA, albeit KSA is changing, the kingdom is changing quite rapidly. And number three, the tremendous drive to use local talent is something we've embraced. And we've created an academy for learning and developing local Saudis in Saudi Arabia, right? And we're putting a lot of effort and emphasis on that, because our long-term vision in Saudi Arabia is to have Saudi Arabians at the helm of our organization in Saudi Arabia, right? So I think the Qiddiya project really, really helps us with the Six Flags to use that as a platform for doing more of the same in Saudi Arabia.
Chris, you defined Atkins' presence as very strong in the kingdom because of the 50 years you've been there in the country delivering projects. So I wanted to understand if you are bidding for any of the other Giga projects.
We are involved in DGDA, in Diriyah Gate. We are involved in Red Sea. We have got a couple of task orders and we're working on NEOM, for example.
Yeah.
We are working on Amala, for example. We are working with Roshan. So we are involved in a number of projects right across the kingdom, And we do not want to be Riyadh-centric or just Jeddah-centric. We want to go where the work is.
And what are some of the other projects that Atkins is currently associated with?
We've got a very strong presence in Dubai, and we've had it for a long time. And we're working very, very closely with a number of clients in the UAE, whether it be Modon, Alda, the RTA, Emaar, etc. Right? And basically, we will continue to provide the services, albeit some of those services could be slightly different, for very mature infrastructure like in Dubai, and for some of the infrastructure needs and housing needs in Abu Dhabi, as an example, right? Okay. In Oman, we had a very strong presence, and I'm proud to say that recently there was a program that showed that we had 53% women engineers working in Oman, which is very high by any standard, and we continue to serve a number of our clients in Oman, which is great, right? And Saudi Arabia, as I mentioned earlier. But I want to take two themes in particular. We want to really improve the efficiency of delivery of projects, right? So our questions to our clients is, there's an opportunity to work more collaboratively. There's an opportunity to go from the traditional contract models, which are contract centric and contract focused, to a different way of focusing on outcomes. And what do we do to enable those outcomes to be delivered quicker? So that's one area I would like to engage a lot more with clients, to see how we can cut costs, cut time, deliver better, deliver faster, and more efficiently with less resources, and cut out the waste.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second area is using technology, using digital. I think today we're in an environment where we can really, really work with data management, with design transformation better, and also build digital twins to actually optimize the operations and maintenance phase of projects, right? Okay. So this is an area we are spending quite a bit of investment, and we are working very closely with clients to continue to find solutions that enable our clients to build, maintain, and operate assets a lot more efficiently.
And on to my final question, Cris. As an industry veteran, what is your take on sustainability in future construction, as well as the rising era of public-private partnerships?
I've been involved in this industry for over 40 years, right? And the waste in our industry is far greater than what we think it is. So if you think about sustainability, number one is actually wasting less. That's got to be the first premise, right?
Absolutely.
So with collaborative contracting, we'll be able to waste less human resource, less materials, less time in getting the job done.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that the oil price have declined, the fact that people realize that we can do better, I think it's a great and opportune time to be advancing that. Secondly, sustainability in the long term, and that's about operating and maintaining assets in the most cost-effective way, and we can do that with all the digital transformation that is going on in the industry, but that we're also investing heavily into, right? Okay, so I think there's a great opportunity there. And the second question was on PPP. Now, as you know, as a group, we've taken equity in projects in whether it be highways, in power projects, or in desalination plants, right? And we've done that overseas, not so much in the Middle East. PPP models have to emerge, I think, because there's a lot better collaboration between the private sector and the governments of this region, right? But to do that, we've got to have the right platform and the right risk models. Now, we want to engage through, for example, our management consulting arm of Acuity to work with government to develop PPP, frameworks that enable us to pragmatically deliver PPP projects, right? So we have produced some white papers on that as well, as you know, right? And we are engaging with clients on that. But I think it's investing now for future PPP.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot of talk about PPP, but the effectively delivering PPP has to go down to the next level, which is actually looking at the frameworks that enable a proper risk sharing, if you like, that enables us to come up with the right structure to deliver efficiently on PPP.
It's wonderful to have you with us on the show, Cris. You got some really interesting points made there. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Hey, Ranju, it's a real pleasure.
To all our viewers who've been tuned in, don't forget to hit the like button and share this video with your friends and colleagues. We will come back soon with another interesting episode in the Expert Interview series. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.